Right, let's move on. Let's move on to this trick then. So this is Picture Consequences, which is coming out on Monday,
Yep,
and you let slip that you have an entire brood of children at home. Picture Consequences is based on essentially a kids' game, isn't it? They used to play with pieces of paper and stuff.
that's right. Yeah, it's the old game where somebody draws the head and then they would turn the paper over, and then somebody else draws the body, then somebody draws the legs, and you could fold it again. And somebody draws something like a big pair of feet or something like that, and then you open it up and you've got this drawing. Well, like the actual original name of it is Picture Consequences. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
And so,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, do your children get any credit for influencing you on this one?
Not on this one. No, I could show you where the influence came from if you want.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Right, give me 1 second. I'm going to go into the other room. Bear with
Yeah,
me.
yeah, okay, no worries. Hold tight, people. Hold tight. Look at that. He's got a studio with different rooms. One day, my dream. All right.
This, I don't know if you can see that okay there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a
Yeah.
yep.
Well, I was doing a drawing duplication, and this was on my partner, and she drew this.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Oh no, what's that? And then I managed to kind of get like a full peek on it for around about 2 seconds, and I
Right.
had to just go with my instinct, and that's what I ended up drawing.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And the reason why it's framed is because we always laughed about this. Do you remember that time when I tried to draw something? And this was my girlfriend got this framed for my birthday as a bit of a joke. It
Oh.
wasn't my main birthday present. And she put it on the on like the sideboard by the bed,
Yeah.
and and the baby was up, and I couldn't get back to sleep. And I remember just looking at it, laughing, and I thought it'd be quite funny if I could create like a really silly trick.
All right.
And within that night, I pretty much figured this out. So it probably happened from about 4 o'clock in the morning till about 7 o'clock in the morning, and that was the full routine created within that amount of time as I was just lying there and
Oh.
and figured it out really. So
Oh,
yeah,
that must have been a wonderful feeling.
it was really, except for the tiredness when I woke up.
Right then, now run through the trick then, because then I'll have some questions that hopefully the people who are watching this will know about and have a better idea of what we're talking about. So
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll show you it as I actually perform it. But
I
do
suppose
you
it works
remember
on
the
Zoom. It
game?
works on Zoom, doesn't it? I guess.
Yeah, works perfectly
Yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah.
works on Zoom, works in pretty much all environments. It's nice as a little stage thing as well. Um, do you remember the game Picture Consequences?
I do.
You do. Cool. So this is Picture Consequences. This is the old board that you'd receive, and I'm going to leave that right here. And this is what we're going to build a little character on. All right. We've got these little cards. I'm going to dot these out over here. We can just place them down. Can you see these all right from where
Yeah,
you
I
are?
can. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yep. Is that
Good.
just
I'll place that right there. They're all in a random order, and we'll just jot them down. All right. So we've got a big variety of different cards. We've got heads, we've got bodies, and we've got legs. We've got a zombie head, we've got a clown head, we've got ballerina legs, we've got a bear's body, chef's head, Santa body. Basically, a large array of different cards. All right.
yep.
And you are going to make some decisions in a moment. All right. But I want to show you something before I do. I just want you to see this as an example. If I put the clown's head over here, followed by the caveman's body, then finally followed with the ballerina legs, my choices, if I do that, are really limited, as you can see. I've only really got a small variety. They're all yellow, right? But that is where the rules of the game come in to this. I'm going to tell you what the rules of the old Picture Consequences are, and these are the original rules. All right. Can you see number one there?
Yep. Select a
What
head.
does it?
Select a head to get started and place it on the board.
Yeah. So, as an example, I will pick the chef's head. Then the second rule: select a body using a different coloured background. So, as an example, we could go for, let's go for the bear's body. That I'll place right there. And then the final rule: Pick some legs from an unused background to finish off your character. Let's go for these little octopi legs. Not the cutest of legs, a little bit scary. And we'll place that there. So that, in essence, is a piece of art that I have just made, all right? And as we know, it would be a children's game originally. And, and now they've come up with this cute little thing that either work together, and it's to get them to learn about different colours and most importantly, make decisions, all right?
Okay.
So that's my piece of art. You are going to make your own. So what do you want to change? What are you going to change this head for? It's up to you.
Gold. All right. Kind of like the cowboy, kind of like the zombie. I'll go for the zombie. That must be the least picked one, surely, the zombie. It's how
Are
I
you
feel when I
sure?
wake up.
Just to be totally clear, you can change your mind.
I'll go for the zombie.
Are you sure?
No, but yeah, go on. I'm
Oh,
committing.
no.
I'm
Are you
committed.
committed now?
I am.
It's up to you. Yeah? All right. So now, obviously, we've got two reds. So we have to change the body. So what do you want to change the body for?
The caveman.
The caveman. Where's the caveman? Down here. That's a good choice. We'll place that right there. And then finally, we've got some legs. What do you want to change your legs for? It's entirely not your legs, the legs of the piece of art.
What are the green ones? The little bandy legs. What are those little bandy legs with the green background? What are they? Oh, skeleton legs. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. And that is your piece of art. That's what you have just created. All right. Bear in mind, you could have had the cowboy head, the chef's head, the octopi legs. We could have had the Santa body, the nurse or the doctor or whatever it is, the ballerina, the clown, the teddy bear. But you went for this. This was your decision and this was your choice, right?
That's correct.
Could I have possibly known that this is what you would have come up with? Because this is what it's all about, you see. Obviously, I've told you it's a game, but it isn't a game. This was never actually released as a game on cards. This has always actually been a test that I've created just for you. It's been a psychological test, all right, to see exactly how you would do. Now, if you listen, do you hear what's inside there?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
There are other pieces of card. And if you tip these out, you'll see there is nothing else inside the box at all. There are just these three cards. And your decisions were predicted well ahead of time. If you have a look, you selected the skeleton legs, and that's what I knew you would choose. You went for the caveman's body, and that's what we went for. And you went for the zombie head. Your decisions were predicted ahead of time. There you go.
Congratulations. Now, I'm guessing that there are more. So I can't believe how many outcomes can there be. But have you got there's multiple outs involved, isn't there? Surely. Can I guess the method?
Yeah. Go on.
Well, there's multiple outs. Where the others are, I don't know. That one seemed pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels like if it was multiple outs, that there should be a lot of other options and other choices.
I'm noticing right? You haven't got a jacket on with 20 pockets. So,
well, that's the really nice thing. Everything is, all of the multiple outs are always on full view and full display. So there's nothing to switch. There's no sleight of hand that you've got to do or anything like that. All right. The outs are really nice here because the way I've structured the routine is the outs are actually removed from the table as I'm performing and you don't realize. Okay. Or the outs don't have to be removed and nothing will ever be found. So do you want, what we could do if you like is we could set this up again and I could show you another one of the outs if you'd like to.
Go on then, go on.
All right, let's do that. So let me get this all back into position, right? And what you're about to see is a part of the method as well. And I'm going to tell you why I've added what I've added in a moment. And it'll all kind of not only make sense, but it's quite an interesting little revelation, if you like. So I give you my demonstration at the beginning. As we use the instructions that we're going to use this, we're going to use this, and let's say this time, the octopus leg. So that's my piece of art. Let's see what you come up with and let's see what you create. All right. So, which head would you like to start with? Can you see these okay up here? Oh, sorry. I've just realised I've still got
Oh, you've still got the
my,
other one. Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
yeah, I've got my little,
at the front.
was it skeleton legs?
Yeah, what's going next?
There you go. Yeah. So let's get rid of them. And for this round, we won't go for the zombie head.
No,
All
okay.
right. So, what would you like to
I'm
start with?
okay. I'll go for the clown.
The clown head. That's a good choice. We're going to place
Thank
that
you very
right
much.
there. All
Uh,
right. And then what do you want to change the bear's body for?
the nurse
The nurse. That's a good choice. That's right here. And then
and
finally,
the
what do you want to
mermaid.
pick?
The mermaid.
Sorry?
The mermaid.
The mermaid legs. Sorry, where's the mermaid? Oh, down here. Excellent. And there were your decisions and your choices. You could have literally selected anything that you wanted to. You could have had this, you could have had this, you could have had this, and so on. But I've got to ask you a question. Did you in any way feel influenced to make those decisions?
No.
No. Do you remember right at the beginning, I showed you the box,
Yep.
and then I dropped the box down on the table over here?
Yep.
What do you see on the box has been facing you all along on the bottom?
Three coloured arrows.
Three coloured arrows. Sorry, we've got yellow, green, and
Yep.
red, which is the exact order you have just picked: yellow, green, and red, proving that you have just been influenced. But you might be asking, well, hang on, if that was only to influence, can I prove it? If you remember right at the beginning, I turned the box over and I showed you the back design.
I like
And
it.
the back design on the box is exactly the outcome that you have just selected. And there is a picture. We've got your yellow,
Perfect. Yep. Yep.
green.
No, looks completely like that would be the outcome. So what you're
Yeah,
saying is so I don't know. So all these multiple outs, however many there are, they are all in play at the start. So you
yeah.
don't have to. There's no nothing to. All right, let me go to my pocket and bring out a piece of paper that I folded in a funny origami way. None of that.
No, not at all. No, no, no. The whole routine fits inside the box.
Sure.
Everything is inside the box. And the routines, they're all really, really strong. I know Michael Murray's favourite method is this,
Yeah.
being printed on the box. For me, that's not my favourite. That for me, that's the weakest possible outcome with this, really. Do you want to see one more for the sake of it?
Well, I want to see what's your strongest. What do you think's the strongest one?
For me, my favourite outcome is the clown head
Yeah.
with, let's go for, we've already used the bear's body, the Father Christmas body, and I would say, hang on, sorry, yellow, green, red. For me, this is one of my favourites at this point, right?
Okay.
Um, and in a moment, I'm going to tell you how many outs there actually are, right?
Right.
So for me, this is my favorite outcome. And when this happens, I really, really like it because now all I'm left to do at this point is say, you selected these. These were your decisions and your choices. Truth is, this was never actually a children's game. This is a psychological test to see how you would do. And out of all of these cards that you just selected from the game picture consequences that never existed, your consequences you created for yourself. You picked the clown's head, and on the back of the clown's head, it says
Yeah.
"Pick me." On the Santa body, Father Christmas, it says "Pick me," and finally the skeleton legs, they also say "Pick me." And for me, I really like that as an outcome. It's really, really strong. It's the one outcome that I wanted in the video trailer, but I didn't
Right.
get. But that swings and roundabouts. For me, the weakest out is the one on the back of the box, and it's still really strong, particularly when tied up with being influenced by what they've always happened to see on display. So yeah,
No,
yeah,
I think
um,
so. I think that seems like the strongest out because it's got two revelations in a way, hasn't it? It's got the these say pick me and these
yeah,
don't, which really is
yeah,
quite a very powerful the mind. It's like, well, it doesn't make any difference, obviously, because they've got pick me on. So, but yeah, the idea the others
yeah.
don't. It's very good.
Sure, sure. And a lot of work and a lot of effort's been put in just to actually making it look like, that it really is some kind of a kids travel game or or something along those lines. And um, the instructional sheet, sorry, has been printed on what would look like actual,
That,
almost kind of cheap instructional sheets.
yeah, I do have it
But
here,
I
actually. Yeah,
provided, yeah, you should have received a couple of them.
yeah, yeah. Took me back to my childhood. That feeling of I don't know what they call this material, but it is basically it's only used for instructions as far as I can figure out. So yeah, that
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
nice touch.
exactly. And I think like when I'm performing it to you now, like live,
Yeah,
but over video, when it's actually performed on somebody, obviously they can pick the pieces up themselves and place it on the head. So they feel like they're actually taking part in a game as well. And although, it's a silly little game, they still don't see the turnaround at the end where actually it now becomes, a prediction rather than about it being a game. So they participated in a magic trick without knowing. And I think what can work really well with this is by saying something along the lines of, in a moment, I'm going to show you, something unusual. It's going to be a psychological test. But before I do that psychological test, can we play a really quick game? I want to see how you think. And then you introduce this little game, and then that actually becomes that magic that you were talking about. So it almost looks like this was going to bridge the gap to perform a magic trick, but then actually this becomes the magic trick. It's a nice little presentational angle that you rarely see used, and it just works really well.
I mean, so I am. I'm a massive fan of the journey because often my tricks go wrong. So as long as they've
Right.
had a good journey, I think. Well, you've been laughing for 7 minutes. Let's forget about who, no one knows who Rod Stewart is. It's fine.
Yeah,
We'll move on. Um,
yeah, yeah,
but so that really
yeah.
appeals, and also I love props, and these are. I mean, they're good quality cards as well, aren't they? They're not. They're going to be resistant to pretty much most things you find in a bar anyway, aren't they? So that's great.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. They are really strong. They're nice, strong cards. Yeah, absolutely.
And you mentioned the parlor and stage, so I do actually have a wee stage gig coming up this evening.
Oh, right, okay.
How would you present that for stage then? Because obviously, or for parlor, I guess it's only 70
Yeah, yeah.
people, so it's more parlor. But
So, firstly, how have you been booked? Are you going out as like some kind of comedy magician? Are you a magician who they're expecting magic, or what's the
well,
expectation?
it's comedy first, magic second. Is how
Okay, cool.
how I feel myself. I'll always go for the laugh. I just
Yeah,
far more than the wow. I'll hit the laugh first.
yeah, yeah. Well, I reckon, just as I mentioned earlier, have you got a little table that you can take?
Yep.
Um, you know, if you can keep this as a little table, I take this little table with me everywhere, every gig that I do. And the really nice thing about this, it's just a little tripod style table, so I can bend it very slightly. I can loosen this off, and you know what I'm getting to anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
for
yeah.
anybody who hasn't seen them,
Yeah, what I'm
this
on at the moment. Yeah.
this can bend a little bit. Obviously, I wouldn't go that far whilst performing, but now the audience can actually see, the top
Cool.
of the table. I wouldn't be doing this routine for a big audience in the sense of like, a couple of hundred people. But what I would most likely do if I've got an audience of 50 people and, I can really interact with them as a person rather than having to be the performer, this is going to fit in perfectly well because um, yeah, just probably like as I said, to be honest, like I would most likely, say before I show you a little psychological test, can we play a quick game together, and then maybe get two or three people up to make the decisions, and then hit them with that. Actually, this was. A psychological test, and your decisions are all predicted ahead of time. And then I would still most likely lead into something else, not
Cool.
that the magic isn't strong enough, but because that's what they're expecting anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not only have you managed to turn the performance around that trick, that little piece that you've just explained around into a magic trick, you're also doing what you've said. So now we're going to do something else, and then you go into that, whatever that thing is.
Yeah. No, it's ideal for me because I do love that. Right. First, we're gonna have a bit of fun. I always start. We're
Yeah,
gonna have a bit of fun. That's what this
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Fun. Yeah, that's
yeah.
great.
Well,
What was I going to say? So can you tell me how many outs there are?
yeah, of course I can. How many do you think?
Well, I'm trying to do the maths, aren't there? So I don't know. There's I don't know, 3 times 3 times 3. I don't know, 27. Somewhere between 9 and 27, which they
Okay,
can't do,
well,
surely.
yeah, there's only 6 outs needed, and it feels like there should be a lot more, and there should be a lot more. However, with the additional cards, this is the way it's routined. If you remember earlier, I said to you, there's going to be something
Yeah,
I'll tell you in a moment. That's the 3 cards that I demonstrate with.
yeah.
They are always cards that I demonstrate with. Um, so now they're in the game and it looks like there should be a lot more choice and it fills the table with a lot more colour. So rather than having an empty board and the participants make their decisions, by introducing these 3 cards, they're now forced to pick these things that are on the table, but at the same time, there's a lot more cards in play. So
Sure.
it looks like there should be a lot more choice. Whereas in reality, there isn't. It's just the way that I've routined it, you know? So yeah, there's 6 choices. There should be, you're probably right, around about 20, 27 or something like that. But that's where the rules of the game come in. The rules do that. They limit the choices without it feeling restricted. In fact, what I've done at the beginning, if you remember, I showed you all the yellows or all the
Oh yeah,
reds, and I explained that if we just use these, we're really limited with choice. So that's where the
yeah,
rules of the game come in. So it makes it feel like it's believable. So rather than me telling you, instead of me having to say, I want you, John, to pick, a red one, and then Sandra, you're going to pick a green one, and then Rupert, you're going to pick a red one.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you now don't have to do that. You don't have to present that and create restrictions. So what seems to be the restriction is created by the rules of the game, but that restriction also makes it seem like now I've got a lot more choice, if you
Right.
see
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah.
So
So it's
I've
a
took
bit like
the
you're helping them out to be.
yeah,
This is a
yeah,
positive thing to pick different ones.
exactly. So what I've done is took the weakness of the effect. Um, I've took the weakness away and made it seem like it's a positive and there's now more choice. Because if we just use reds or we just use yellows or we just use greens, we're really limited. But now that's where the rules come in. We can pick this, we can mix it with this, and we can mix it with that. And it's all about you as a performer, how you make it seem like they've got a lot more choice, just remembering to really, hammer in. You could change it for this, you could change it for that. Do you want to change that? If you do, then do you want to change this? And giving them lots of choices and letting them know that these cards that are always in play can be brought back in and can be rechanged, and it's the change this, change that constant letting them change things because they can. That really makes it seem like at the end, when you come to reveal it, you had all these choices to change, but you've stuck with one specific thing. And I think like it's quite difficult just doing it with you to demonstrate, do you want to change this? Do you want to change that? Because it's just you and me at the end of the day. But in that live environment where you can have a laugh and interact and be the performer, you can really make it seem like there are a lot of choices because every decision that you make is really important, and that little bit that I just said is hammered in at the end.
Yeah.
Once it seemed like it was just a game, well, actually, every decision that you made has a consequence. You've created this, and then you come to reveal it. Yeah, hope that makes sense.
No, it does. No, it's really nice. One of the benefits, I suppose, of multiple outs over a force is that the freedom you have of saying change it. It doesn't matter. Change it as much
Yeah,
as you like, and you can
yeah,
have a lot of fun with that whole. I don't need to go to bed and lose sleep over what would have
yeah,
happened if it goes on the other one, and all of those, all of the play you can have because you're not bothered in the slightest. That's great.
exactly. There's no memory work with this as well. You don't
That was
have to
my other
remember.
question. 6 is my limit. Come on.
There's no memory work at all because at the beginning of the performance, that was actually facing me.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is one of my outs.
Yep.
The box are my outs, and these are all dotted here. If you can see that,
Okay.
okay.
Yep.
On the design of the box, we've got your, a visual cue. Then on the board itself is a visual cue. One of the outs is the back of the instructional sheet, but this works really well because I've got my, if I want, I can leave my instructions flat down on the table,
Yep.
and the colours are printed here. 1, 2, 3.
Ah. Yep.
So these are a visual cue as to where the out is, and that is on the back of the instructional sheet. All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
But that all of the cues double up as do you feel influenced? Do you remember at the beginning I made you read the instructions? If you look at rule number one, what color is the number one?
Right.
It's
Yep.
green. If you look at two, it's red. If you look at the number three, it's yellow, proving that you've just been influenced. And if that isn't enough, if you have a look on the back of the instructional sheet, you can see I predicted it well ahead of time.
I think that's a pretty strong. That's a pretty strong revelation.
It
That one.
is. It's a really strong out because you get the participants to read the instructions, you tell them they've been influenced by these numbers, and then you reveal that it matches perfectly. And as all that's been going on, you can slip the board out as you demonstrate. You can fold that up and put it away with the box, and you're left with nothing other than their decisions on the table. So the outs can be removed from as it's from the game as it's being played. So I'm stammering all over the joint there, but you
No, no.
get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. That's great. Great. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love
Yeah.
it. And so, how did you? How many times did you take that out then before releasing it? And did it evolve?
Yeah, a lot of live performance. But what I often tend to do is I create a lot of magic at the same time. Like at the moment, I'm working on about 5 different routines at the moment, and what I like to do is just show the kids one by one, like rather than getting them together as a group. What do you think of this? And then I'll show the kid a trick, and then even if you watch the trailer, I'm actually at a show performing a show. And during the whole show, I was doing 4 shows a day for 15 days back to back. So in that environment, I got to perform it to an audience of about anything 70-ish people every night, really. So a lot of performing. I managed to get out and do a lot of performances with my material. So yeah, sorry? Was that what you asked?
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry, a waffle rubbish. A waffle rubbish.
So, so do I. It's nice to meet someone else who does. But that's fantastic. Unfortunately, I think we're going to be running out of time because I have actually got a day job to be getting on with.
Sure. No, you're all right.
But thanks a
But
lot.
yeah,
No, see, I think congratulations. So it just appeals to me. It's bright. It's colourful. It's a game with
yeah.
a magic trick built in, which is yeah, right up my
Yeah.
street. And
Oh, good.
perfect for amateurs. Surely you would have thought because with the multiple ice, you can play it with the different people at different times and so on. So brilliant. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you. I just hope people enjoy performing it. It all fits in one box. It comes with a protective plastic case as well, so you can look after it. You can throw it in your case at the end of your gig without worrying about anything getting damaged.
Throw it in with that mouldy lemon and lime that I keep forgetting to take out. Yeah, that'll be perfect.
Yeah, it'll keep it dry.
All
Hey.
right. Well, thanks, Joel. And
Oh,
yeah,
you're welcome.
good about the next one. Oh, is there a time for the next release by yourself, or have you got
Well, I
anything?
release I release 2 routines a month, every month, and that's on the Miracle Studio. So that keeps me like really busy, as I was saying. And yeah, my next actual kind of physical release, that's more of a commercial style release. Nothing really in the pipeline at the moment, but that'll probably change within the next couple of weeks, I'd imagine.
And are you going to be at Blackpool?
I am indeed. Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. We'll catch up then.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we will. We will.
Yeah.
Thank you,
All right.
Alex. Thank you for
Cheers.
chatting.